In 2014, I was provided with an amazing opportunity that few other students get to experience. I was awarded the Transforming Youth Through Travel Scholarship to go to Rome and Naples in Italy for 10 days. It was a trip of a lifetime. I was so excited that I won because I'm half Italian, and it was amazing to see where my great-grandfather came from. The entire trip was eye-opening, and I got to see beautiful places like the Pantheon, Trevi Fountain, Vatican, and Trastevere. But there was one site that impacted me the most. It was the famed Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo was one of the greatest sculptors and painters of his time, but he hated to paint. How can someone who hated painting and would rather sculpt paint something so beautiful? Michelangelo was born in 1475 and lived in Florence, Italy. He then got his many talents discovered by the infamous Medici family, a family who often helps young artists perfect their skills. And he created many talented works of art, including the Pietà, which is a sculpture of Mary holding the dead body of Jesus. Michelangelo is also famous for his sculpture of David, from the biblical story David and Goliath. Michelangelo got noticed by Pope Julius II, who wanted him to create his tomb with 40 life-size statues. Although that project fell through, in 1508, Pope Paul III called Michelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling, where popes are inaugurated and elected into papacy. This was challenging for Michelangelo because he hated painting. Nevertheless, Michelangelo created a masterpiece for the ages. Before I walked into the chapel, I felt nervous and my heart was beating fast with anticipation. Once inside, it really hit me. I was standing there, in a 541-year-old chapel, staring at a wall that made me tear up and start to shake. I observed the people around me, expecting to see other people who shared my reaction. To my surprise, I found no one who appeared as taken by the experience. I wondered if they could see what I see. I wondered who else felt Michelangelo's presence in the chapel. As soon as I reached the middle divider, I finally looked at the Last Judgment, and my eyes focused in on the most unnerving picture of someone. It was a man who looked like he had no bones in his body, and his skin was just hanging there in the hands of another man. His face looked haunted and lost. Those paintings had made such an impression on me that there were tears in my eyes. That's not a joke, that's literally me crying. While walking around that chapel, I just felt Michelangelo's presence, and I am not a religious person, but I felt like out of everyone in that chapel, he talked to me spiritually. Then I looked up at the ceiling and found God and Adam almost touching, which represents how close mankind was created to be almost godly. It got me thinking about how Michelangelo managed to influence so many other artists. First among them is Michelangelo Merisi, commonly known as Caravaggio. Caravaggio, another incredibly talented artist of the Renaissance, mimicked Michelangelo in his painting The Calling of St. Matthew. This painting is in San Luigi dei Francesi Catholic Church in Rome, Italy. I had a chance to see that painting in person as well. In this masterpiece, Jesus' hand is pointing at a young Matthew to give up his life as a sinful tax collector and join his holy apostles. The way Jesus' hand is pointing is the same as Adam's hand in the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Many scholars say this Jesus is the second Adam. I can imagine Caravaggio going inside the Sistine Chapel and looking around like I did and getting inspired by Michelangelo's style. I wonder if he also cried. Overall, this is one of the most amazing things I have ever experienced. Seeing the work of these two artists in person, being close enough to be awed by their talent was something that I will never forget. My trip was memorable for many reasons. I ate the best nocciola gelato and the best cacio e pepe. I also got to experience how Europeans are very affectionate people, and I had a phenomenal time with the best people from all over the world. My trip to Rome also made me realize how bad American water is compared to fresh Roman Nozzoni water. This trip to Rome made me realize that there is more out there than just America, that mankind existed a long time before my time. It's hard to believe that people lived in Rome for thousands of years and that their city evolved with them. This unforgettable and life-changing trip made me realize my passion for traveling and to learn about other countries and their cultures, to become a richer person. I hope one day I have an opportunity to go back. Myriah Catalano traveled to Rome as a part of the 2014 Context Travel SAC High Transforming Youth Through Travel Scholarship, which each year selects a high-performing student from Sacramento High School for a 10-day immersion in Roman life and culture. The purpose of this scholarship is to expose these students to rich history of Europe, so that it might transform their thinking and studies, and perhaps change their lives. The scholarship is funded by the Context Foundation for Sustainable Travel, a U.S.-based charitable organization that seeks to improve travel through innovative projects.